you need to understand what you're actually doing and not just having access to all of these different concepts and philosophies about life, but none of them are actually being practiced. If you're not consistently doing some form of work, you're drifting. Let's talk about effective ways that we can do the work. Have you ever heard people say, you gotta do the work, do the inner work? But what exactly is the work? Let's get into it. I'm Shayla Ma'ad. I'm your host. I am a mother, a homeschooler, and transformation coach. I post weekly content centered around personal development, self-love, and overall wellness. So go ahead and subscribe, become a part of the community. And if you have a vision and you're ready to break through, then you're in the right place. So a great way I've learned to actually begin to do inner work and make the kind of progress that you want to see. You know how when you discover that there's something that you need to work on, you begin to see the outcome and you see it as something that's away from you. Well, the sooner you get into that inner work, the sooner that outcome is going to be a part of your life. You'll be living it. Simply by, what I like to do is categorize the most important areas of my life outside of finances. So finances is a world of its own. I'm referring to inner work. So a great way to make sure that you are effectively doing your inner work is to have a good foundation and have them in categories that you can identify with easily that mean a lot to you. So for me, my top 5 is my spirituality, my fitness and nutrition, home and family, beauty, which is the divine feminine, and this is gonna seem weird, but laughter, if that's a category. So with that being said, I'm really beginning to start to see what doing the work looks like. I've actually found that it's only a matter of time, literal calendar weeks, before you begin to see the outcome, the sought after outcome that we all want. When you really start to do the inner work and then ride the calendar, it's just a matter of time. And you'll end up waking up slap dab in the middle of your desired and sought after outcome, simply by being consistent. You know, it's kind of easy to be familiar with all of these concepts of the inner work and somehow think that you're actually doing the work just because you have access to the different techniques and you heard someone else teach them or might have even tried it once or twice. But unless you're actually putting in almost kind of like screen time or work hours, like the hours that you clock in, you work 40 hours, you get paid for 40 hours. If you're not consistently with days upon days, and each day is a gift, each day is an opportunity. If you're not consistently doing some form of work, you're drifting. And one of the things I immediately noticed once I began to start putting in my own work, all of that drifting that was going on ended because I was able to shift my focus onto my course of action. Those typical distractions began to fade away. I'm not saying distractions completely go away, because a part of doing inner work is being able to choose. And a part of doing inner work is being able to be presented with a distraction and be able to have the self-mastery and self-control to concentrate and focus on what you're supposed to be focusing on. So all of this is like a muscle. These self-mastery skills become a muscle that you begin to develop. And even though like today I went to do some squats and I only did the squats on the bar because today is not an official leg day for me, but I want to make sure my form is still there and that muscle memory knows how to get all the way down into a proper squat. So I simply did it on the bar without any assistance from the Smith machine. And I guarantee you the next time I go in and do squats with weights on the Smith machine, I will be able to pop that thing with the right amount of heavy weights in the right form because of muscle memory. So some of the self-mastery skills that comes when we start doing our inner work will allow us to easily be able to control ourselves, our concentration and what we focus on, and not be so distracted. So distractions will be there, but they will fade away because you begin to, through practice, control what you focus and concentrate on, which is what's in front of you, what you have committed to, the inner work. One of the ways I was able to benefit from doing that inner work was that the spirit of confusion left. It had nowhere to rest because there's nothing to be confused about. You only have a certain amount of time, and really all we have is the present moment. So what you do with the present moment is going to determine everything. Instead of being confused in the present moment, I was too busy studying and practicing these things that we're going to go over in this video. So developing a course for yourself and staying consistent with it is basically the work. That's the video. But let's talk more about how to really build a strong foundation so that you can commit to doing the work, and then it's just a matter of riding it out over time to begin to just see the outcomes that you want to see and to build that muscle memory when it comes to self-mastery skills. When I began to practice my inner work, when I began to identify what it was, put it into the categories, I learned that when you turn your awareness inward and become aware of your weaknesses and strengths, make peace with them, and become aware of your desires so you can have a definite focus and definite goal and purpose, that you can actually start your work. Because by making peace with your strengths and weaknesses, you can then start working on them and adjusting and making your moves according to what you know about yourself. Committing to the work also caused me to grow my love for myself and respect for myself, because while I'm over here practicing techniques and being consistent, I realized I was developing integrity. I had my principles, I had my boundaries, I had my course of action, and I was standing on it. And when you stand on your principles, that is integrity. And through some of the techniques in doing self-work, not only grew respect for myself, but just self-love, because you begin to accept yourself and, like you get to see yourself grow. And that's bonding. That's bonding. That's creating a healthy environment, internal environment within yourself, once you can stick to something and see the progress and remind yourself of that on a consistent basis. It's the vibes, it's the inner rapport with yourself that the inner work gives. I've learned that doing the work, having a daily practice and an understanding of what you're actually working on, that is a step that you cannot skip. You need to understand what you're actually doing and not just having access to all of these different concepts and philosophies about life, but none of them are actually being practiced. So if you want a better understanding of what the work is and what it looks like for you, then stick around, because we're going to get into it right now. One of the most important categories when it comes to doing inner work that is going to be a consistent, ongoing work that you will see results from: reprogramming the mind. It is the most work, but it is the simplest. It just requires commitment. So we operate off of programs based on how we were raised, society, and trauma, and what we do repeatedly. It becomes habit. And some of our habits have turned into addictions. Some of our habits hurt others and overall hurt ourselves, our health, and everything like that. So the programs that we are operating on that are unhealthy, in order for us to stop that shit, in order for us to stop doing things that are toxic, we have to tap into and interrupt that ongoing background program that we are not even conscious of, because we've been doing it for so long that hypnotic rhythm has just taken over. And these are unconscious behaviors that we want to bring to consciousness, and not only bring them to the surface, but replace them with the programs that support a healthy life, healthy relationships, and a healthy, happy you. We are gifted with life, and why not make it what it needs to be to enjoy it, make good memories, fulfilling, and stuff like that. So reprogramming your mind and changing those old programs to new ones requires practice. And the nutshell of inner work is applying that consistent practice of different techniques to change out the old program with the new. So that takes work. Number one, you got to know your desire, know what you want. Then you got to break down that and identify what it takes to experience that desire, what it takes to reach that definite purpose, to fulfill that definite purpose. And doing the inner work is going to be repeatedly doing those behaviors to create new habits. And one of my favorite reprogramming necessities is practicing mindfulness, practicing breath work, noticing the breath, meditation, and concentration. It doesn't matter what you're going to concentrate on. It does, because whatever you concentrate on is what's going to materialize. But what I mean is the act of concentrating, the act of focusing repeatedly. Inner work is really going to require great concentration skills, because going into the work, you're going to need to be able to use your awareness, use your consciousness and your awareness to pick and choose how you decide to see things. And you have to be able to hold a thought, hold a perspective or a perception long enough without the old thoughts from the old programs kicking in and taking you off course. Because remember, you only have the present moment. So in the present moment, you're choosing whether you are going to barbecue or mildew, basically. In every present moment, you're either doing something to degenerate or something that's going to bring forth life and love and growth and success. You know what I'm saying? So one of my favorite ways to get into practicing and reprogramming has to do with developing concentration skills and being able to shift your focus. So while there's many things that you can do to practice this, just knowing that you have programs that are outdated that needs to be replaced is a great way to begin, because now you have to discover what those programs are and which techniques are best for you. Seeing what works is the work. And I think that a great category to start with is, or to have in your bag of the most important categories that you want to work on, would be the programming of your mind and the letting go of the old program. And as much as you want to just forget one thing and get into another, it takes actual consistent work to create new neurons. And the only way to create those, or what is it called? It's a pathway. Every thought, every automatic thing that we do is because we've done it so many times that there's like a pathway there. And that pathway gonna be wide open until somebody come and sweep and create a new one. And so I visualize the old pathways needing someone to come and disrupt it and go in there and then and create a new pathway. And that new pathway is going to be created through consistently doing the same thing day after day after day, about 99 days. And what you'll find out is, wait a minute, there go another path done swooped in. This is another path. This supports health. This supports wealth. This supports confidence. This supports peace. And concentration allows you to put your mind and to do the work that it takes to create that pathway through, instead of focusing on the old, put that concentration on what the new thing is. Put that concentration on what you do with the present moment, day after day, moment after moment. Am I doing it? Which direction am I going in? So you see how reprogramming can be work. And I put it at the beginning, at the top. Now it's up to you to go in, get your notebook, your journal, and start to assess your triggers, get into self-awareness, which we're going to talk about more in this video, to just kind of like discover what you need to be programming. As long as you are ready to begin to develop your concentration skills and what you focus on, and you're ready to be consistent for over 99 days, and you can use that calendar and set a challenge and say, okay, for the next 20 weeks, I'm just going to go crazy on this one or two things. Then you're ready to do your work. And all you need to do is decide, what is that thing that I'm going to do to work on over the next 90 days? What am I going to concentrate on? You know, and just that one thing, and just give it a try. And what happens is, after those 99 days come and go, you probably will be too busy doing it and just living it to notice that that outcome that you used to see as something far away from you, you're in it. That's what I love about work. That's what I love about doing inner work, is that when you just go on and commit to it, and it's almost like swimming in the ocean. You swimming in the ocean, you swimming in the ocean, you swimming in the ocean, away from the shore. And then you look back and you realize how far you swam. That's what doing inner work is like. And the only way you're going to get out there in the ocean and get far is to just like, don't even look back for a little while. Just go crazy. 99 days, go crazy. And you wake up in your outcome. You wake up in your manifestation. So yeah, you might want to get into that. That's doing the work. And you can combine that calendar, that consistency, and that concentration to get the things going. Number 2, this is definitely important. Fitness and nutrition. We're going to keep it simple and we're going to keep it real. Okay? It is recommended that we move our bodies. Period. Now you can pick walking. You can pick dancing. You can pick line dancing. I don't care. Biking, swimming, yoga. Move your body every day. That is doing the work. If your program right now is that you resist any type of pain when it comes to challenging your body or working and exerting yourself or raising your heart rate, if that is your program, it's time to replace it easily, simply, gradually, by knowing your strengths and weaknesses and pushing past your limits by setting the bar to move your body once per day. And I do it for 30 minutes at the very, very, very least, but you can grow it from there. But you should be walking. You don't need a treadmill. You can jump rope outside. Do jumping jacks outside. Do jumping jacks inside. Do something. Pull up a YouTube video and stay consistent with it for days on days on days. And that's fitness for me. You know, I have fitness videos. I have yoga guided videos, and you can check them out in the playlists. But it's so important to incorporate fitness as a part of your inner work, because by you balancing the body and you're allowing yourself to detox through sweat, you're raising your heart rate, you're working your body. These are faculties within yourself that you need to even have a good mood and have clarity and see straight. So don't even skip it. Just do it. That's the simplified way. You don't need to be a gym rat. You don't need to be overly worked out, but just know that fitness, moving that body from left to right, dance, something, stand, is a part of inner work. The best way to tackle fitness is to have a schedule and a program. The schedule is a time where you can commit to showing up for yourself. Mornings are great because it gets you going. And evenings are good because after a meal, it'll help you to digest and get sleepy and ready for bed. So if you have that schedule and then a program, knowing your goal, if you're trying to burn fat, build muscle, maintain, or just simply meet the daily requirements, have that program together just by doing a little bit of research to know what movements are good for you. You know, for example, I do upper, but I'm specifically focusing on specific muscles. So it took me a moment to incorporate these new moves to target certain muscle groups after trial and error. So that's a part of building your program and having that schedule. Sometimes you have to switch it up as long as you're consistent. You know, try the mornings. If it doesn't work, try the evenings. If it doesn't work, try lunchtime. Just make sure you know that category is a part of it. And right along with fitness is nutrition. Nutrition is such an important factor when it comes to your inner work and what you want to be making sure you're doing consistently. And when I say nutrition, I mean eating clean. I mean choosing to eat clean and learning about new, healthier options. That's the work. What you eat, what you put inside your body, and if you are consistently moving, directly affects it. Tap in. I had to literally, and I'm still learning, what is most important and making sure that when I do eat and what I put in my body is nutrient dense. And a great thing about eating clean and nutrition is that you can change your palate just by practice. So by being consistent, like say no sugar, or being consistent with only eating, cheating once a week, you know, you'll stop craving certain things, or replacing sugary snacks with fruit. At first, the fruit is not going to be sweet because your taste buds and your palate is used to blueberry pie or whatever it is, you know. But once you just stop the sugar and start eating more natural sugars for an amount of time, over an amount of time, you're going to notice that fruit good. I want me some fruit. Matter of fact, I want me some fruit now, actually. I want some watermelon. Let me hurry up because I want some watermelon. It comes to inner work. Fitness and nutrition is a part of it, and we practice it via having a schedule for our fitness program, having a program for our fitness life, having some new items on our menu that are clean options, having the willpower to choose to eat clean, and self-control to save that cheat day, that impulse, for only once a week. That way, you know, you can get more results. Comment down below one clean option that you know of. For me, I definitely gotta say fruit first. Eating fruit over processed sugars and sweets is top tier. So getting into fruit is gonna be one of my clean options. What's one of yours? Leave it in the comments below, and we could basically all learn from each other and start adding some of these options to our weekly meal plan. And applying that same schedule to creating a meal plan is going to be important in doing the work, because remember, this stuff has to be sustainable. So we want a schedule that we can sustain. For me, it's every Sunday, once a week. I need to sit down, tap in, and decide what am I about to eat all week long. Because if I don't, I'm going to be in everybody's drive-through, and that is a no-go. Another very, very important category when it comes to doing inner work is developing a good relationship with yourself. And I'm not talking about the voices and the outside noise of the world. I'm talking about you becoming aware of your power, your uniqueness, your greatness, your story. I'm talking about you accepting your strengths, your weaknesses, and creating your new story, reframing your self-concept, that level of self-awareness and acceptance, and self-forgiveness, being able to know that mistakes are natural and learn from them. That will help you forgive yourself. Having that relationship with yourself where you have this understanding with yourself and you're up to date with yourself, you have forgiven yourself, you have come to peace with who you are, is the inner work, because that's going to create a state. It's going to create a state that allows you to be able to receive the blessings in life. Because when you have not accepted yourself and you do not have that inner peace, you are not even present or stable. And a lack of, how can you be with yourself if you don't love yourself? That is not good, because you can't go nowhere. You're with yourself. So you got to get along with yourself. And who else to be kind to first than yourself? Who else to forgive first than yourself? You're right here with yourself. You know, and then you always have access to you. So why not have access to someone who accepts you? Why not have access to that acceptance and have access to that support that comes with understanding mistakes are lessons, and consistently reminding yourself of your life lessons. Be your friend to yourself. Have a good, healthy relationship with yourself. That is the work. Trust. That's another one. So we got self-acceptance, we got self-forgiveness, we got self-awareness, and trust. When you begin to have that type of tight relationship with yourself, it don't got nothing to do with nobody else. It's specifically with you. And you wake up with her or him, and you're able to fine tune him or her, or just enjoy being. You get to express and create. So a big part of the inner work, aside from reprogramming yourself and fitness and nutrition, is simply having good vibes with yourself and having a great internal environment. You're going to do that through forgiving yourself, knowing about learning from your mistakes, accepting your flaws, strengths, and weaknesses, being aware of what needs to be reprogrammed, and just being patient with yourself. Having a good relationship with yourself is a part of the inner work. Now, you can practice that by paying attention to your breath, doing breath work where you take a certain amount of time every day and control your body long enough to sit still for 10 minutes. And I do it now. I go out and I lay out, and as much as I want to wiggle and twiggle and turn around and flip sides when I'm laying out, a part of my practice is to literally lay there for a full 15 minutes and control my body. We might not have control over what our neighbors do. We might not have control over what our children do. But we got control over, for the most part, what our bodies do. So sitting down and having a moment to notice your breath and control sitting still is going to usher you into this state. And the more you can tap into this state, the easier it's going to be for you to be present and hear your inner guidance. And that is the most important part of having a relationship with yourself, is when you're able to sit with yourself, you have direct access to God and divine inner guidance. I believe that it's inside. And I don't believe you got to go to church. I don't believe you got to go out there. I don't believe you got to clock on YouTube. I believe, and you can believe what you want to believe, that when you sit still long enough and tap in, you can hear God. And you can hear that inner voice, and I'm talking about the divine inner voice. It's going to come through doing the work. I mean, sometimes, we got to sift through some limiting beliefs. We got some crazy thoughts that might be within there, intrusive thoughts. And it's going to take work to develop that through journaling and stuff like that. But through concentration, developing our concentration consistently, we do have an opportunity to choose what we concentrate and focus on. Okay? And through the breath work, following and listening to that breath, and sitting still for 10 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day, and meditating, after a while, baby, something gonna come through that resonates, that inspires you. That's gonna be intuitive, and it's gonna give you that you gonna feel it, you gonna know, and it's gonna be that guidance that you need to do the next part of your inner work and the next part. So this is a self-sustainable vibe that happens when you get into your inner work. Another part of having a good relationship with yourself is taking it a step further and creating that self-concept. So, you have this relationship with God, you have access to your inner guidance. Now you can kind of have permission to know that you deserve to be whatever you want to be. And you see that life is a blessing and that God has gifted you and woke you up every day that you wake up to be who you want to be. So now you get to create your self-concept, and that's a part of the work too. Why not get into the things and be who you want to be? And to be that, you got to commit to it, and it doesn't cost money. It costs concentration, consistent concentration, and your consciousness, your awareness. And so creating a self-concept, you just need to find out use your imagination to figure out who you want to be. What does she do? What does she look like? What do you always wanted to do? How have you always wanted to look? How have you always wanted to sound and talk? Picture that, get into that vision, and then literally pull those characteristics. And if you can't visualize, find somebody that's doing it. Pull some of those things and start practicing them in your daily walk, the way you talk, the way you show up. And that's a part of being your self-concept and having a self-concept. You need to take time to do that. That is the work. Last but not least is going to be relationships. Doing the inner work to be able to sustain and have healthy relationships with the people around you. That is a big part of inner work, because unless you are kind of like a hermit, kind of introverted, even if you are, you got to deal with people sometimes. And what you'll find is there is actually a beauty in relationships. I know a lot of us have been traumatized. I know I didn't want to deal with nobody for a long time. I promise you, I had the most bomb island, mansion, castle away from everybody in my mind that I was completely about to manifest. Until I realized, nah, I need people. Yeah, I'm down here with people, and it's okay. And so you might as well develop your relationship skills, okay? That's the work. That's the inner work. And a part of having healthy relationships has to do, again, with self-love, because what happens is when it comes to relationships and how people feel around you, the best way to protect yourself and be able to relate to others is love. Love. Because love is universal, and you can fill yourself up with love so much that it outpours out onto others. And it'll wash away any type of crazy, negative, hater ass energy. You see? So you don't got time to concentrate on nothing but love. And sometimes just by loving yourself and being tapped in, you can make people feel inspired, and you can affect other people just in that right there, because it's just gonna pour out over everything. So having healthy relationships has a lot to do with self-love and being able to fill yourself up to where it piles out and it just busts out all over everything. Okay, that's what it need to give. And inspire folks. And what happens is when you show love through loving yourself and expressing love, what happens is it makes people feel encouraged, and you begin to be like a goddess. or God, you're a goddess, you end up being a delight, pleasant, godly, you know what I mean? That part. So, and then, that's something you could generate within yourself through just having it as a priority to love yourself and impact people via love and encouragement. It's a task because it involves forgiving others the way you have to forgive yourself, by knowing that, hey, life mistakes is a natural thing. If I can forgive myself, that's why self-work is important, because everything that you can do for yourself is able to reach others. You can be better, forgive others. Okay. So, you have to look past people's mess, and if nothing else, love yourself enough to where the only thing they're gonna get when they come around you is the vibes. And having the self-awareness to know when to draw back, fall back, and get into yourself, recharge, and step back out is going to be a balancing act, a self-awareness thing. Where as you go, you're going to know when you need to shine. You're going to know when you need to tap in and just be on meditation mode. Because, these 4 or 5 categories that we're talking about is a consistent thing that you're going to ride out through the calendar years and always be maintaining. You always are going to be filling yourself up with love so that you can have more healthy relationships. Because love is going to wash out all that other stuff. And you can't go wrong loving yourself. That means you came out the door prepared, full. That's the key. That's the key. For me, when I think about my inner work, I want to leave people feeling inspired and loved and inspired. So developing ways to have healthy relationships is a great category for inner work if you need something to focus on. Always finding ways to pour love into yourself so that it can impact the world around you is another ongoing category of doing the work. Never forget fitness and nutrition. It's not nothing you're gonna skip. It is going to enhance it all, and you can keep it simple by choosing to eat better and move your body every day and sleep. I'll link a fitness and nutrition playlist so that you can just tap in to some more of my specific tips when it comes to that, because it's so important when it comes to inner work. Reprogramming the mind is going to all be about choosing your definite purpose or your desire and finding different methods that work for you to help you build new pathways, and being consistent over 99 days on and on and on and on until that hypnotic rhythm picks up and you begin to create new neuron pathways and better habits that's going to support wellness. Never forget to sit still and tap into your inner guidance and let that be a part of your work, because you will get all your directions, confirmations, and intuition from just having the control to sit still, follow your breath, and tap into your inner guidance and talk to God. Check out my freebies below and subscribe to my new podcast called the Ma'at Portal Podcast. Ma'at means balance. We talk about personal development and ways to maintain that balance over there. And watch this video, and I'll see you there. Bye.
GZ.